How's it going, everyone? My name's Graeme and welcome to Two Left Thumbs. This is my YouTube year in review, something that's become a bit of a tradition on the channel and something I quite like doing, just unpacking everything that's come the previous year. 2021 was actually my most successful year so far by quite a wide margin, and so I entered 2022 with this massive confidence that I could make and do whatever I wanted. And unfortunately, YouTube just doesn't really work that way. Instead, 2022 became a year of organization and project management and a few tough choices both on and off of YouTube. Inadvertently, 2022 really became about paving the way for what's coming in 2023. I resisted for a long time, but the writing on the wall became clearer than ever, and it really became about me adapting and embracing this new direction fairly late in the year. So instead of simply looking straight ahead at what I have planned for 2023, I want to make sure I'm looking back a little bit, maybe looking at some of the mistakes or pitfalls that occurred along the way, what I actually achieved, lessons learned along the way, and how that's all building towards the future. The main thing is how I've now spread around my content. I now have two channels for scripted videos like this one here, as well as a Let's Play channel, and a second Let's Play channel that doesn't really matter as much. I'm not really gonna plug that one, but it exists, and you know, it's there. But my other main thing is the entire indie game publishing company that was started in 2021. I'll be discussing all of that and more in separate sections of this video. Maybe you can skip around if you only care about one thing or the other. Quickly on the publishing side of things, because I'm increasingly separating out things so it doesn't all just exist twisted up in one single area the way it has in the past, I still intend to plug new games that I am publishing here, incorporating those into the videos, trying to make sure that the games that I am making you aware of align in some way with the topic of the video, so that I'm not totally throwing puzzle games at people who only care about action roguelikes. Like, I try to do my best to unify that. But if you've ever wanted to know more about how I got started as an indie publisher, or what some of the behind the scenes of that looks like, those sorts of things, I do plan to eventually make those types of videos over on the publishing channel, as well as things like trailers for the upcoming games. That's going to be like largely what exists over there, but now and again I want to start unpacking some of what it looks like and encouraging others to take similar risks. I plan to host a game jam later in the year. Again, I'll be announcing that over there and kind of running it over there. I want to keep the indie game stuff in its separate corner. I can plug it here and there, but the bulk of it over on that channel. So please do subscribe to that, because I am trying to grow that in the meantime. First, looking at Two Left Thumbs, this channel right here. I started off last year making this video just gushing over the Lord of the Rings trilogy of movies. And if I would have known it was going to be one of my most watched videos of all time, I would have been a little bit more careful with some of my research, phrasing, and overall editing. There were quite a few valid criticisms that came up for that video, things that I just presented sort of poorly or neglected to mention, but you don't really think through those fine, minute details when historically your videos on film and TV only get a couple thousand views each, and you're more just making them for yourself than anything. Then all of a sudden 1 million people see it, and all of its flaws are just glaringly apparent. I think my main lesson there is that quality is always better than quantity, and that if you're gonna put a week or more into a video, then you might as well put that extra day in to make sure it's really the best it could be. With that in mind, my goal on this channel for this year is going to be to upload every other week, whereas in the past I've tried to do weekly videos. That really fell apart in 2022, but that was just more about life stuff. I'm gonna be easier on myself moving forward if something comes up that requires me to delay a video. In the past I beat myself up about that a little bit, but I've gotten better at knowing that you just can't control everything, and I'm going to more readily push back videos if I think they aren't ready. I don't really expect my style of video to change very much, but I'll just be polishing things up that little bit extra, and I think it'll be noticeable. You also have to learn that quality doesn't always speak for itself. Really early in the year, I did the 20th anniversary Abobo live stream, followed by like a feature-length documentary on that game. I think those pair of videos are two of the most interesting, coolest, well-put-together things on this channel, and neither one did that well. Regardless, it was an honor to be a part of that, and I hope that I can stay in touch with Roger, Nick, and Pox for years to come and follow along with what they're doing. And I think the lesson to learn there is that marketing is everything, especially on YouTube. Without a perfect combination of title, thumbnail, and topic to hook people, it will get ignored, and YouTube rarely gives videos a second chance. Slowly throughout the year, I started more commonly working with people to help me with things like thumbnails, because I've just never been that good at it. Maybe my style works for some of the videos I do, but not all of them, and I'm hopeful that just improving that will dramatically improve the reach of the channel. I'm thrilled that I finally got to upload the Madness flashlight video. That's one of the craziest, most complex things I've ever put together. Multiple interviews, like months of research and editing. That video was insane, and I still had to cut it into 2 parts, the second of which is coming, but this is building off the idea of quality over quantity. I refuse to rush a video that's taken so damn long to put together. It's coming. I'm not remotely promising a date for that. It'll be uploaded when it's ready. It's in the works. It's still happening. But when a video is that long, you kind of have to chip away at it here and there and find smaller projects to, give your brain some space to breathe, and also maintaining a bit of an upload schedule. I'd rather not wait 3 months to upload it with nothing in between, but it's in the works. So I dramatically appreciate your patience on that. But with the first part of that now public, it was the same thing. I think I really bombed the title and thumbnail because I thought it was kind of a guarantee. And so I just leaned into what I thought would work without much thought. I don't know. I blame myself a lot for that. But it's been on a pretty consistent trajectory ever since because people do seek that out. So, I'm pretty happy with the performance of that video, but it was a rocky start. One of the goals I set for myself for 2022 was to review the entirety of Marvel's MCU Infinity Saga. I was uploading those roughly once a month, tackling them in these contained series. So one video on the 3 Iron Man videos, then one on the 3 Captain Americas, and so on and so on. 23 films is a lot to cover, so I was kind of just making things a little easier on myself trying to get through everything, and it's quite interesting to look at how these contained trilogies and series work within the larger universe. I just love superheroes. I grew up with the comics and the cartoons. I got introduced to the MCU when I would have been like 15, pretty like formative, right? So I just love talking about those, and I love talking about movies in general. I made it about halfway through that, up to the second Avengers movie, and I really loved doing it, but I was faced with kind of a double whammy there. I had to take some time off for some non-YouTube obligations. Nothing crazy, but it just takes time away. And viewership on those videos was not improving. I'd kind of hoped that once I started building the series up, uploaded consistently at roughly the same time every month, that people would get excited for it. And obviously some people did. But I've got bills to pay like everyone else. And while I'd rather not have to run the channel this way, around June or July, I had to face the reality that not only were those videos not getting views, they were sending the channel into a very dangerous spiral. Things that I think affected videos like Madness. So around the middle of the year, the channel was starting to become a little directionless. I was losing confidence in the type of content I was making. Viewership was so spiky, more than usual, and I was just a little worried, honestly. Luckily, I have eggs in other baskets, so the floor could completely fall out of this channel and I'll be fine. But I'd rather not spike it into the dirt. Same as always, I tried to make videos that were specifically for myself to keep motivation up and just talk about things I have fun talking about. I also wanted to mix in things that felt more bankable to bring in revenue, and as often as possible I try to make sure those things align. I'm never covering topics I don't want to talk about, but I'll often prioritize something based on my interest that week or month. But as I tried to regain my footing on the channel, the for me videos were kind of rushed and I wasn't overall happy with the quality. Meanwhile, those moneymaker hero videos that they're often called just flopped. Again, I try not to sweat it too much, but things were not on a great path. So for pretty well the remainder of the year, I switched my focus almost entirely to videos that had either been long awaited or that I felt were safer bets that would be fully feeding the algorithm, those sorts of things. Deltarune, Henry Stickmin, a Jackbox review, the classics, things that have always done well here. And even they weren't performing as they should. Have in the past. You know, I don't want to feel entitled or anything, but yeah, I kind of thought those videos would do better. I think things have improved, but I wouldn't call the channel out of the woods yet, and I've mapped out what I think is a very strong schedule for this year. I'm looking something like 3 months in advance. I try not to look too far ahead because things come up and you have to rearrange, but I'm always planning pretty significantly ahead, and I think I have a nice lineup of videos that are a nice mixture of things I really enjoy talking about, tying in things like Deltarune and Undertale in ways that feel a little bit more creative, just to give me some different options and play around with things a little bit, while also making them in a way that I think YouTube will really like. And I'm doing that, this focus on quality and algorithm-friendly videos and putting my own spin on it. One, because I want to make sure I'm carving out more of a unique style and niche and that people are more likely to click on a video because I made it, not because of the topic of the video, but also because I'm kind of trying to lift the channel back up into YouTube's good graces. As soon as you start fluctuating too heavily in the topics you cover, or the consistency of viewership gets too up and down, then YouTube stops promoting new videos you upload, and then it doesn't matter how good the video was. I made kind of a whole video discussing how I managed to nearly kill this channel, and I think I recognized the path I was on early enough to do something about it, and 2023 is me doing something about it. From day one, the idea is this channel is variety content. I'm going to talk about video games, movies, television, literally whatever is interesting me in a given week. And that was really fun, and I had a lot of big successes and unexpected things that took off. It was kind of crazy. But the deeper I went down that, and the more I started splitting my interests off, the worse videos were performing. And when those videos perform poorly, that carries forward into the other videos. Because I typically shift my video format to fit a given topic, rather than shaping the topic to fit my style, there's nothing that consistent for viewers to latch onto. And that's what I'm trying to adjust in 2023. Thank you to anyone who does watch all my stuff, regardless what the topic is. I appreciate that more than I can say. But it's certainly not common, and all YouTube sees is inconsistent viewership, which makes it assume that the content is bad, and it stops recommending anything, and that's when a channel just drops off fully. A really good example of this is my Gegs series, you know, Gaster Easter eggs in Deltarune and Undertale. Again, they aren't actually Gaster, that's just kind of a play on words, because you just swap out an E for a G, it goes from Easter to Gaster. But that always confuses people. Not the things in the video aren't about Gaster, it's just me goofing around, and it's a fun thing to say. Gegs. I like it. That was a super consistent, very, very well performing series. Things were spiraling, like I said, so I put one of those together. I actually recorded a whole bunch of stuff and was going to upload like 3 of those super close together. But I rushed it because I just thought like, oh god, the channel's not doing well. I need something to attribute to the YouTube gods to show them that I still do the things that YouTube likes that I do. And it just didn't perform well. And I think partially that's because the channel was on rocky ground, but also because it was rushed. I made mistakes, things weren't explained as well as they could or should have been. It was just kind of a mess. So I've actually unlisted that standalone video that I put out there, and I'm going to remake it, rework it at some point, and pick that series back up again sometime later in the year. And I'll upload them kind of on a consistent schedule once I've built myself a nice runway to do so. And I am looking forward to doing the rest of those. They're videos I want to make, but I don't want to rush them, and I don't want to treat them as this junk food that will satisfy YouTube. I want them to go back to being what they originally were and be juicy and interesting and things that people want to come back to and watch multiple times for years to come, because they're trying to be comprehensive. So if you rush it, then what was even the point of it, right? So I'm working to improve that. That's why that series kind of disappeared off the channel. It will be coming back, but while I kind of re-dip my toes back into the Undertale universe, I'm gonna make like 1, 2, or 3 kind of fun videos, and I'm really looking forward to those. I think I have some really cool ideas of interesting, unique things that I can talk about in that space that other channels haven't as much. So with the free fall of the channel occurring, I started to get a little bit worried, and the scariest decision I think I've made since first spinning off this Two Left Thumbs channel, whereas I used to just kind of mix my video essay topics into a Let's Play channel, I should have learned that lesson back then. Once you start mixing content like that, everything suffers. I had to make the decision to spin off Two Left Frames, a channel entirely dedicated to film and television, while this remains focused on video games. And while it is scary, I was just as excited as the last time I made that call, because at least this time I had some confidence that spinning off a channel could work, seeing as I had one prior example of that working out. This channel that is now effectively the main channel was not my first. And while I know every time you start a new channel, it's a slow build, I at least have the comfort of being able to push people from this channel over to there if that's the type of thing they like seeing. It still means you're effectively starting off from zero, so it's concerning, but it's exciting. I think that long term it'll benefit everything if people can more reliably find the types of things they like within a given channel. There's a reason that Game Theorist and Film Theorist are 2 separate channels. If you put all that together, it muddies things up and everyone does worse. So on relatively short notice, around September, October, I unlisted nearly every film and TV video on Two Left Thumbs. I made a couple exceptions, but basically everything has been removed from the channel and is slowly being moved over to Two Left Frames. I even created a couple original videos right off the bat just to make it a little bit more appealing, never before seen videos, so that people can step into it, see something that they've never seen before, and as I've been uploading those old videos from here to there, I've had the opportunity to look at analytics and read people's comments and fix mistakes that I made, improve the pacing of the videos, just generally tweak things. And so that's been really satisfying. If you go to that channel and recognize some of the videos as things you've seen before, the majority of them are quite different from when you first saw them. Some maybe tweaked only slightly, but I'm really happy with having that opportunity to make things better. I think the quality of content over on that channel is like some of the best stuff I've ever done now. And I think some of that is starting to pay off. Quite recently, the channel is on a bit of an upswing with improved viewership. People are checking out a few specific videos. They're on a good trajectory. I was just able to apply for monetization like 2 days ago. So yeah, that channel is potentially on its way. It's just going to be a little dicey, because I know I'm going to talk about weird niche subjects like AMC cable and the Marvel trilogy, and then here's a cartoon I saw that I liked. And so it is all within the bubble of film and television, but some people will make entire channels dedicated to just Marvel. And so you're kind of trying to compete with those people. We'll see how it goes, but I'm excited by it. I think it was the right move. I stand by it. And regardless of if it doesn't work out, I just still think it will be better for Two Left Thumbs that I did this. In just those 3 months of the year, October to December, that I had to work with, I managed to put 12 videos up over there. I'm pretty excited about that. Obviously, that came at the cost of what I could do over with Two Left Thumbs. I didn't have time to dig into as many videos as I wanted. That's part of why I also was backing into a corner of making like bankable videos, because those are obvious. I don't have to think about them very much. Henry Stickmin references, Deltarune references, a Jackbox review. There's kind of a pace that I have there that I've established for myself, and it's clear what the topic's going to be about. When you make more of an essay and script out a video based on a larger topic, it can be really hard to find the heart, the center of the video, and build everything else out around that, and make sure that you're staying on topic, which I'm not very good at, as you may have guessed, and just making sure there's a focus and a point to what you're saying. And so I just didn't really have time to tackle those sorts of videos, and that's partially why things like Flashlight really disappeared from the channel for a few months there, is those videos take an insane amount of work, and I was over here trying to start an entire new channel, so I kind of had to focus on like the simpler styles of video. In hindsight, I would not have done it when I did or how I did it. I made some major changes in my life, suddenly had more free time than I had had in a long time, and just made the decision, felt like the right time, felt like the thing to do, and just started that channel and just started uploading to it and just went for it. But once I started, I couldn't really stop because I couldn't risk just letting that channel die when it's just in its early little fledgling stage, you know? The spark is there, I want to be fanning those flames, give it a chance. And now that it has a substantial number of videos on it, and I can start building towards a schedule, I'm less worried. But once I started it, I kind of needed to focus on it. But I did that right while I was making these other changes in my life and setting up some other things publishing-wise, and it just was probably too much at once. So it was a relatively stressful stretch for me. Not more than I could handle, but yeah, I kind of regret doing it the way I did. If I ever have to make a big change like that again, I'm gonna plan that shit out for like months, make myself a nice roadmap of what I'm gonna do on what dates, and just plan ahead. Diving in works in some instances. It was foolhardy this time. But now this is it. I kind of think 2023 is a little bit my year. I've been full-time on YouTube for like a year or two at this point, in the sense that it is my sole income. That and my other like online ventures. But I have not had a fully clear schedule to commit to this stuff until like October. I had other work and obligations that I've had to fit in my schedule up until then, which means often working well beyond a 40-hour week, whereas now I think I can finally build my schedule into like a 40-hour week. Maybe I take a little extra time here and there, but I can pace out videos very consistently. Hopefully 2 a month on 2 Left Thumbs, 2 a month on 2 Left Frames, playing around with Let's Play stuff, and I can do that in a properly set up schedule, and I can just worry about other things in my life, like going to the gym and eating right and those sorts of things, you know, going to physio for a busted shoulder I have. I think I can tackle those things much more reasonably, and honestly, I'm just looking forward to having a nice set schedule and predictability to what I'm uploading and when, and I feel so confident that I can do that more efficiently than I ever have before. I can already picture some of you shaking your heads. What are you saying, Graeme? You have more free time and that's why you're gonna double down on video content and have all these channels and you're just gonna burn yourself out. It does sound that way, but because most of what's getting uploaded, or a substantial chunk of what's getting uploaded to 2 Left Frames, including all those Marvel reviews and a plethora of other videos, are all getting moved over. Sure, I have to edit them slightly, but I can do that in a couple days, and then the rest of that time can be carried over in other videos. So 2 Left Frames is going to be consistent and active, but substantially less work. And while I'm kind of relying on that backlog of videos, I can plan further ahead, and I'll just get back into a rhythm of things. Because back when I made weekly content on this channel, pretty early in its life, I had a really good rhythm that I lost along the way, and it was totally sustainable, and it got more and more inflated and out of control. But I think I've finally got the reins back under my control. So thank you to hardworking, super productive Graeme of days yonder. I can now reap the fruits of your labor to make things a little easier on myself while I get back on track. I have fairly large ambitions for both channels, because why not aim high? And I'm going to stagger things, so if you're the type of person who likes both topics, broad topics of conversation, you should have one video a week. If you only like one or the other, a video every other week. They'll be staggered. There's like an alternating pattern going on there. And I think one video every 2 weeks of the size and quality I'm aiming for, I think that'll be really great for people. Give them plenty of time to catch up on videos, you know, plenty of time to get around to it. And I think that should improve the trajectory of the channel in the sense that if every video performs at least average to well and there aren't bombs mixed in there, then the overall trend line should go up. That's the theory. We're going to test that out together. By nature of following this channel, you're probably at least vaguely aware of the fact that I started an indie game publishing company back in 2021. The first game we brought to market was Dead Estate. Starting in 2022, the Milk Bar lads have been developing a series of 6 free updates that massively expand the game. The second of those went live at the very end of the year. We have 4 more planned for this year, all ramping up to this big final endpoint where the game will feel more complete. I'm really looking forward to that. That game has been crazy successful, and I would like to take as much credit for that as I can, and I'm very happy with the work I put in to get it to that initial starting point where it had the opportunity to succeed. But I have to admit that to a fair extent, the game markets itself. It's visually very eye-grabbing. The music is outstanding. Obviously, some of the character designs feature very well in YouTube thumbnails. But in general, like, I'm very, very happy with how that's gone. And that single success has allowed me to build from there. It's just very exciting for me, and hopefully you guys don't mind that I hammer on about it as often as I do in the separate videos of this channel. And how I've come to view it, I can put in terms of developers. We all collectively have separated out the idea of a AAA developer and an indie developer. There is so much debate as to what separates that. Sometimes someone could have made a game by themselves for 5 years, and then they get a bit of funding from a publisher, and people are like, oh, well, you're not indie anymore. It's like, yes, you're not independent, but you certainly don't have the resources of a full-ass team. But when we talk about publishers, we talk about publishers. That's it. There's no distinction between small and large, what they're bringing to the table, what that looks like. And what I'm trying to do is carving out a separate niche in the industry for micro publishers. An indie game publisher is not descriptive enough. You could be a big publisher that now and again publishes indie games, or exclusively indie games. But if you are a big, full 100-person company that has your own marketing team and quality assurance, and usually they'll take on responsibilities like porting a game, handling some of the localization, like there's quite a lot of things a publisher could do, not all, but it is possible. We just call everything a publisher. And now what I'm doing is giving people a little bit of seed money, helping them figure a few things out, taking on some of the marketing, smaller snippets of the job, and all I can really call myself is a publisher, whereas in reality it's probably closer to something like a producer or an angel investor. And I think I'm operating in a space that the big publishers can't. Because if they come to a game and offer them $50,000, $100,000, they need to really protect that investment, which usually means claiming most of the revenue, and maybe down the line, if the game is a massive success, the developers can get paid on the back end. Whereas I'm coming in from a smaller position, the portion of a game I'm asking in terms of revenue is notably smaller, and hopefully I'm setting up developers so that they can have longer term success and build this into a career. You don't just make one game, the publisher cashes out big, you managed to finish your game, but that's about it. Ideally, what I'm helping build is just getting you across the finish line, setting you up for success, allowing you to sell and make money off your game, and hopefully put that towards your next game. And maybe you don't even need to work with me on the next one. I'd love if people feel that they would want to do so, that I did a good job and they want to come back to me. But ideally, these indie developers can maintain that indie status and can just start working for themselves. And so when I see people like Donkey stepping into the ring with Big Mode and everyone dumping on him, oh, he doesn't know anything about games, what an idiot, I don't know, whatever people's complaints were against that, all I'm seeing is someone who's going to be throwing money into the industry, using his platform to support indie developers. And that's all I'm doing. So obviously I'm a fan of what Donkey's planning to do there, and I sincerely hope it works out. That's tough for me, because suddenly I'll have all this competition, but maybe the idea of a micro publisher will become more common and can change the industry for the better. Now, I thought I'd be publishing 2 to 3 games in 2022. With this catalog that I have lined up, that's the hope. But again, quality over quantity. If you're attached to a big publisher and they've got $100K hanging in the air that they need to recoup costs on, they might push out a game sooner than it's ready, filled with bugs, and, you know, we all know how that works out. I'm not really in that position. If the developers have the ability to wait and put more time into their game, I can wait too. I'll meet you halfway there. We'll build up towards a release date together. We had ambitions for a few of those games for 2022. It became clear they needed more time in the oven, and that's what we're gonna do. And depending how you look at it, I still did manage to publish 2 games in 2022. I joined up with 2PM Studios, working to promote and expand the reach they have on their already released early access title Wizard Chess. They've been working on that game for years, slowly iterating on it, and it finally hit a point where it seemed like the core identity of the game was clear, and they're pushing forward with that. That's when I learned about the game. It immediately just clicked and made sense for me, and I thought, I need to be a part of this game. We worked out a deal where I'm now the publisher, I'm helping them out with marketing, getting the word out. They are in just this stride of development where they're pretty consistently updating and adding to and improving the game. I think this thing is phenomenal. I'm really hoping that it finds its audience. It's exciting to be a part of, but it technically released before Dead Estate, so that's why I'm kind of like, did I publish a game in 2022? I guess kind of, but not really. You know, that's why I'm iffy about that one. And a ways back, I partnered with Phil, Misadventurous, for his game Repellafella that he's been working on by himself for I think 6 years, maybe closer to 7 at this point. He's hired out, you know, voice actors and a programmer here and there, things like that, so maybe he's not truly a solo developer, but this is hand animated by this single individual. He's indie as all hell. And one thing I've known all along is that point and click games are very hard to market. People just are very particular about what they like in that genre, and it's just not the highest selling genre by quite a wide margin. It is more of a choose-your-own adventure, though. You can replay this game multiple times and explore different branches. Like, it's a complex, exciting game. So we put out the Repellafella prologue so people could play the first half an hour, because I'm pretty well confident that if you have this game in your hands and play it, even for just half an hour, you'll get it, and you'll be excited about the full game. So we made sure we put that out. So again, did I really publish a game, or did we just release kind of an expansive demo? That's hard to say. I'm thrilled by both projects, and while I know these sample sizes are small, I cannot express how unbelievably exciting it is that both have 100% positive reviews. You can't maintain that status forever because no game can appeal to everyone, but starting off on such strong footing just feels amazing, and I'm very hopeful for the prospects of both those games. In 2022, we also started and ran a complete successful Kickstarter for They Speak from the Abyss. Again, this is trying to redefine what a publisher can do. I didn't have the money out of pocket to fully fund this entire game, but what I could do is fund the refinement of a demo, using some past experiences I have to get a Kickstarter off the ground, marketing that, getting the word out, and successfully funding a game so that it now can be developed full-time. So no, the money isn't all coming directly from me, but I served a pivotal role in making sure it had that opportunity for success. And now, I believe, same as the YouTube channel, 2023 is kind of going to be the proving ground for this micro-publisher concept. Again, I think this is my year. There are, I would say, minimum 5 games that are going to be properly published this year. Not me picking up an already released game into the catalog or releasing like a large, expansive, glorified demo. These are going to be actual released games. And taking on that amount of projects may seem kind of overwhelming, but they're staggered out in a way and spaced out in terms of genre, so they don't compete with each other, but in terms of release dates, to make sure that each has an effective runway of marketing. That's really exciting for me, and I've already talked about it more in this video than I intended to. I'm gonna make future videos on the background of publishing the different games I'm involved in over on that other channel, so I'll cut myself off there, and I'll save it for over on that channel. This does lead into another section of the video where I just want to talk about my social media presence in general. This is something that became so clear to me basically as soon as I started splitting off the film and TV stuff from Two Left Thumbs. Just instantly, people agreed with the idea that those should be separate, and I applied that to basically everything. If you do everything in one place, it's just this unpredictable stream of who knows what's coming next. You get a notification that Two Left Thumbs uploaded a new video, and it's a trailer for a video game. That's just not really what people expect. People want to support the creators they like, and they want to look forward to their new videos. And when they get kind of tricked into watching a trailer, you know, it might help me in some small way, but I'd rather not abuse the audience like that. That's just kind of how it started to feel. Those videos get ignored, the audience becomes fractured, views go down, and it's the same lose-lose. And with the viewership of videos on Two Left Thumbs becoming more inconsistent, I realized I was going to have to lean more heavily on social media to market these games I'm publishing. I've always used Twitter to post random musings at my leisure. Maybe I plug the odd thing here and there. While I've always been Graeme and Two Left Thumbs was always a brand, I very much treated that Twitter account and social media presence as a personal thing. So instead, what I did is spun off a personal account where I can just talk about whatever, it doesn't matter, make dumb jokes, like whatever thing come across your page, talk about the movie you just watched, it doesn't matter, it's fun. I have fun on Twitter using that account. And then Two Left Thumbs is much more business oriented. I want to be interacting with other indie game developers, expanding that reach, marketing these games, retweeting, doing what I need to promote the games I'm involved in, and basically immediately the followers on that account started to improve when it had a clear path forward of what the purpose of that account was. Again, nice raised confidence. How else can I expand on that? What else do I need to be doing to improve that social reach? So I started a TikTok account and I uploaded one video a day for an entire month to really test out what that could be. I should clarify, I started a TikTok once before to promote my Let's Play channel, and it didn't go very well, and so I just abandoned that fully at this point, and now the TikTok is rebooted and dedicated to game publishing. And again, some of those have gone really well. In 1 month, my follower count on that is higher than Twitter. I think conversion of things on TikTok is far lower because you can't include links and such, but it almost doesn't matter, because if people are hearing about games and talking about them and sharing and having a laugh, then that's positive. That's what I'm looking for anyway. I either started or reworked basically every subreddit for the different games I'm involved in, because it's such a nice space for people to just share whatever they want, random musings, fan art, screenshots, talk about the game. The more that I can build those up, then people can just find their way to it, and they kind of just take care of themselves. They need some moderation, but I'm trying to set those up to be nice, fun spaces for people. So again, just creating nice, divided, allocated spaces for people to enjoy the things that they want to enjoy without having everything else jammed in their face. Which there is a Two Left Thumbs subreddit. I've done very little with it so far, but you might enjoy hanging out there. We'll see what we can do with it. I have a Discord too. I'm very bad about plugging that. I should have links to both of those down in the description. All of these changes are about more clearly separating YouTube content into different audiences and creating stepping stones from that to these published games, without it feeling forced on anyone. And the more I'm able to make those clear divisions, the more I think I'll be able to better compartmentalize my personal and work life, which, as I said earlier, is something I've always wanted to get better at. I've built up a few bad habits, a little bit of personal neglect. I've never been truly atrocious in those regards, but it's inconsistent and is something I could always improve on. The one other thing that I did this year that, again, I did around September, October because I was excited about having more free time, was kind of retool and reboot my Let's Play channel. I regret doing it when I did, but I'm happy with it now. I have changed the channel of that title too many times. It started as Two Left Thumbs, then became Graeme Games, then full Graeme Plays, and is now back to Graeme Games. Every other attempt to distinguish that channel never really felt right. And the only reason it didn't maintain Graeme Games through that duration is I tried to use that to spin off a new style of Let's Play channel, but that was so much work and it was clearly taking away from other things and never really caught on the way I hoped it did. So now that channel is New Graeme Plus, which I'll upload to here and there, whatever, when I feel like it. I'm just gonna have fun with that one. But that channel title still really tickles me, but Graeme Games is a little catchier and a little bit more clear of to what's going on, so that gets to be the main Let's Play channel. Through a fairly well-documented series of poor decisions, some of which led to the creation of the Two Left Thumbs channel, so I guess they weren't all mistakes, that channel, Graeme Games, is effectively dead, which is thankfully part of why I recognized the trajectory this channel was on. I actually still managed to upload 150 videos approximately in 2022, which kind of blew my mind to look at. That's like nearly half the days have videos. I did not expect that looking at the numbers, but none of that was consistent, and about a third of those, 50 of them, were in the last 2 months there, so that gives you a sense of how aimless that channel's been. I managed to add a cool 500 subscribers to that channel over the year. But again, that was mostly right towards the end of the year after having lost, I don't know, like 1,000 or something. Honestly, it bums me out to look at that subscriber count and then look at the average view count that videos get. I wish that there was a button I could click to just boot everyone off the channel who hasn't watched a video in, I don't know, 6 months, a year, or something like that. I wouldn't necessarily want to do that because people do still show back up after years, and it's crazy to see a name you recognize and be like, holy shit, when is the last time you watched a video? Thanks for coming back. That's like exciting to see, you know? But I would rather just kind of start with a clean slate, I think. It's hard to gauge how a channel is performing when things have stagnated like that and you have heaps of dead subscribers. I don't actually plan to reboot or start over because I want that catalog, that history of the channel there in place, because now it's just kind of, I do it for fun, and it's interesting to see how the channel has changed over the years, and so rebooting it would be no good. I'm just going to leave it as it is, carry on with it. Hopefully someday I kind of revive it. I'm going to kind of try to do that this year, but I'm not very worried about that channel. I'm currently a little over 40 episodes into Shadows Over Loathing, so like 20 hours of content. I am excited that that game came out when it did, because I've been checking for years when are they going to release the next Loathing game, and there was always these teases but no concrete information, and then they just surprise released it, which is never a recommended strategy as someone who's on the other side of things now. But I was kind of starting to figure out, what am I going to do with this channel? How am I going to bring it back? How am I going to organize uploads? What sort of games do I want to cover? That sort of thing. And I was kind of barely just starting to get that ball rolling. And this game came out. West of Loathing was some of the most fun I ever had playing Let's Plays ever. And I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. I'm going to play this game fully through 100 episodes. I don't really care what it takes. This is where I'm going to shake the rust off and get used to more extemporaneously talking in front of a camera and playing games and providing commentary and making jokes and like figuring out what works. I'm going to get back into the groove with this long ass series. And on the other side of that, I'm going to gear down and focus on one-offs. It'll be a pretty hard shift. I don't know how many of the new followers are going to follow me along towards that, but I think it'll be the right move. I'm never saying no to doing a full series again. I'm certain I will at some point, but I really miss playing like an endless stream of new games. I always had a bad habit, though, of randomly picking a game to do 2 or 3 videos on and uploading those in kind of a weird mixed bag. It was inconsistent and confusing for people. I'm inspired by people like Splattercat in this regard, that he just covers one new game every day, plays it for about half an hour, maybe a little longer if the game warrants it and there's like a little bit more to show off. Maybe he comes back to a game if it has a major update or something like that. But mostly, he's just trying to show off as many games as he can. And I think that's the role I want that channel to fulfill. I want to be more abreast of new games that are coming out, and I want you guys to be too, and so that's the main goal of that channel. But I'll worry about that once I've finished up Shadows Over Loathing. Then who knows, maybe that'll catch on, maybe I'll find a new audience with that, and it'll be a healthy contributing factor in the larger success of everything else I do. But for now, it's going to be exclusively treated like a hobby. I miss the parts of YouTube that felt like a hobby. I'm able to get that by bits and pieces on these other channels, but the Let's Plays are where I feel it most consistently and comfortably, I guess. I wrote myself out a series of notes of things that I knew I wanted to cover in this video. Never did I expect it to be this long of a video. If you watch to the end of this, then you're probably the type of person who consistently watches longer videos, which is something I consistently make on this channel. So maybe people are just used to it and I just got to embrace it. So what are my main takeaways here? What are my goals? What am I working towards? I'm hoping to have in the range of 50 videos. It might be a bit more, a bit less, depending on how things go, across 2 left thumbs and 2 left frames. They will be alternating, having these nice researched video game topics, fun stuff, and then gushing and obsessing over movies and television, doing reviews, behind the scenes looks at things. I just like talking about that stuff, and so that's very fun for me to play around with over here. I genuinely think that long term, the publishing is going to become my main revenue stream and kind of my main career. I'm going to juggle everything for as long as I can, but I'm kind of suspecting 2023 is going to be a big year for the publishing. I have those ideas, like I'm going to run a game jam. I have a much larger project in mind for really carving out what a micro publisher can be. I'm not going to worry about that till later in the year. I'm going to see how other things go. So I'm sharing zero specifics on what that is, because I think it'll be really cool, but I don't want to promise it until I know I can pull it off. Yeah, there's one more reason for you to keep an eye on the Two Left Thumbs publishing channel, because that will kick off over there whenever it gets off the ground. Beyond that, following me on the social media, subscribing to Let's Play channels, whatever of that sort of stuff appeals to you. I'm not going to push those things very heavily. All of it's personal preference anyways. I'm going to go make some lunch, chill out. I don't know, generally look after myself. That's a big goal for the year. And that's what I got next. Thank you to everyone who has stuck with me in this crazy winding journey across YouTube and all the different areas that it's stretched out into. I barely know what's coming next, and so it's a miracle that anyone would follow me along for that. I started this video by saying 2021 has been my most successful year. I'm gonna give that year an atomic wedgie and make it eat its own pants. I don't know. 2023 is where it's at. It's spit in the face of 2021. 2022 was weird. It was a weird year, but I think it was a very important year for some personal growth and for some long-term viability of these different channels and projects. And so I think I will look back on 2022 fondly, even if I ended up unlisting approximately half of what I uploaded in that year. It was important. It was an important stepping stone. So thank you all for sticking around. Thank you for watching. I've rambled far, far longer than I planned to, and I better just cut it off somewhere. So I hope to see you again soon.